Hi everyone, EnPTinio here. And if you are just joining me, you have not missed anything yet because I just went re-live because of technical difficulties. I hope this is better right now because I hope to give you 5 reasons why I say no to Parex. So these will be 5, maybe 6 statistics about the possible impacts of the Pasig River Expressway as uh, gathered from different references, local and international. So, before I start, I hope to share with you uh, the my Notoparex resource hub that I compiled from the different articles, studies, and presentations that are available online, and hope that you will sign the petition and say no to Parex that was started by the Move as One coalition and has been signed by around 20,000 people already. So again, if you can hear me, please send me your reaction or send me a comment so that I can adjust my mic and adjust my audio settings. So also, your reactions are welcome, and hopefully, you can scan the QR codes from the different pictures so that you may see the references of and the resources that I refer to in the following points. So, this will be 5 reasons why I say no to Parex. First reason why I say no to Parex is because a study by the UK Department of Transport found that a 10% increase in road capacity could lead to 2% induced demand on the road network, meaning that increasing road capacity can generate more cars and encourage more people to drive or use their vehicles. This is an important aspect of transportation solutions because the goal of the PAREX is to minimize traffic, and we understand that it has been documented throughout literature that increasing road capacity only temporarily alleviates traffic congestion and encourages more vehicle use because of uh, temporary increases in speed because of the increase in road capacity. So if you will scan the QR code there, you will see the PDF reference of a study in UK and that Dutch streets that found that through an evidence review of induced demand, that there is really induced demand is really induced, or vehicle use is really encouraged when the capacity of roads are increased. So that's my first reason why I say no to Parex. Increasing road capacity could lead to increase in induced demand or increase in vehicle use. Second reason why I say no to Parex is an experience documented by PGAA Creative Design in the Iloilo Esplanade. The Iloilo Esplanade, because of it being turned into a public amenity, increased land values from 3,000 pesos per square meter to 18,000 pesos per square meter by being a public amenity. So the Iloilo Esplanade was formerly a dike road, but turning it into an esplanade increased land values from 3,000 to 18,000 per square meter. Does having a road increase land values? Yes. But my point here is that having an esplanade o- around the Pasig River around the Pasig River rather than an expressway would still increase land values because of the perceived increase in amenity or in usefulness of the Pasig River. Right now, there are people who are using the Pasig River for livelihood, for fishing, for transportation, even for biking, despite the lack of good infrastructure. If the Pasig River can have its own esplanade, it will be a public amenity, unlike if there is an expressway, which we believe I am one with the opposition groups that having an expressway would only deteriorate the quality and the usefulness of the Pasig River. So that's my second point, second reason why I personally say no to Parex. Having an esplanade has been found to increase land values by being a public amenity. Again, if you can, if you want, you can scan the QR code so that you can see the references of my points. Third point why I say no to Parex. It will worsen fossil fuel air pollution, which already cost the Philippines $3.4 billion. A study by Greenpeace estimated the amounts or the annual cost of uh, fossil fuel air pollution in comparison to the GDP, and found that in 2018 it costs as as much as 1.9% of the Philippine GDP. So imagine having an expressway over the Pasig River that can induce demand or can encourage more vehicle use. It will increase the likelihood of having more fossil fuel emissions into the atmosphere and will generate more fossil fuel, more air pollution, and can increase the health and social impacts of uh, vehicle use, which can increase the cost of air pollution. So I say no to Parex because of the possible impacts to air quality. Not this is again in addition to the possible ecological implications of the Parex to water quality and to the surrounding uh, land uses. Fourth reason why I say no to Parex or the Pasig River Expressway is because it has been found by a survey done by the SWS that majority of Filipinos want to prioritize public and active transport over private vehicles. One of the points of the proponents of the Parex is that they will put bus lanes and bicycle lanes on the Parex. My counterpoint, why not just develop the surrounding banks of Pasig River into bike lanes, into public transport lanes, and not increase the cost of doing such developments by by constructing an expressway that would primarily be catering private vehicle use. Only around 30% of Filipinos own vehicles or private vehicles. And most of our working populations in Metro Manila are commuting not only in the metropolitan region but also into regions 3 and regions 4 and region 4. So it is important that the Parex be scrapped because it is not a logical solution to the commuting problem of the majority of Filipinos. What's a simple solution? Increase the likelihood of bike use around and along the Pasig River through the different cities and municipality that surround or use the Pasig River and its tributaries. So that's number 4 reason why I say no. to Parex. My fifth reason, and I believe the strongest case against the Parex, is the experience of Seoul in South Korea in restoring its own river, metropolitan river at that, because after the removal of its urban highway. Restoring this river after removing an urban highway costed Seoul at least $900 million. See the cost of restoring a river because of a wrong decision towards urban planning. And if you will read the article that is in the QR code, you will see that restoring the river restoration project did not uh, return the river to its original state, and that is because of urban development and concreting natural habitats will not is an irreversible land use conversion. We cannot uh, restore the Pasig River again in its original state if we implement urban planning interventions that are not ecologically sound. Case in point, the Dolomite Beach project. So that's five reasons why I say no to Parex. First, increasing road capacity only could lead to induced demand or increase in vehicle use. Second, turning the uh, having an alternative project could also increase land values and uh, provide public amenity instead of the expressway. Third, having a Parex will worsen fossil fuel air pollution, which costs the Philippines billions of dollars. Fourth is that majority of Filipinos want and desire priority for public and active transportation. And last, having a restoration project after this wrong decision would cost us large amounts of money and would not return the Pasig River into its original state. I call on the proponents of the Parex as an individual to rethink this project that will not only be useless infrastructure but may provide uh, more problems both environmentally and socially. The road network of the Philippines and Metro Manila at that should be managed through a shift into public and active transportation. One bonus stat for you from the Transportation for America publication. In a study of US urban areas, it was found that traffic congestion increased by 144% despite constructing roads at rates that are 10% higher than population growth, meaning that even though road construction was higher than the expected population growth in these urban areas, traffic congestion still increased by 144% because of priority for cars and private vehicles over priority for moving people. The Parex does not prioritize moving people and will be an injustice not only to this generation but to the future generations that will be deprived of the opportunity to see the Pasig River. That's why EnPTinio says no to Parex. EnPTinio says no to Parex. I hope you can change your mind about not only the Pasig River Expressway but also car-centric infrastructure that is being implemented counter to the policy of climate-oriented and climate mitigation. The Pasig River Expressway will only increase congestion and will also increase the likelihood of air pollution. Save the Pasig River from this uh, monster project. Again, the Pasig River Expressway public hearing for the environmental impact assessment is on Friday, uh, and it's scheduled by the Environmental Management Bureau at 1 p.m. Hopefully, the DNREMB will be convinced that the Pasig River Expressway should not be issued an environmental compliance certificate and persuade the proponents to think of projects that will be beneficial to more people and more generations. Check out my No to Parex resource hub and please sign the petition of the Move as One coalition to stop the Pasig River Expressway project. Did you enjoy this episode? What are your comments and suggestions and feedback? Please let me know in the comments or send me a message at enptinio.com. Thank you.